Greetings. Sorry, I'm taking a look at a picture here of the new vice president for Victoria's Secret. Man, have they just ruined their reputation. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, greetings and welcome into the Dark Outpost. I see you made your way past enemy lines to get here, and I appreciate it. I'm David Zublik, your host, once again on this excursion to the darkest outposts of the human mind and beyond. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. We have a great show coming up for you today. The great John Carmen will be joining us in just a moment, and we always have an interesting conversation with John. I can't believe the great Victoria's Secret has hired this person, this woman, or is it a woman? I don't even know. I'm sorry, folks. I don't even know anymore. To be their new spokesperson, they're going to introduce trans stuff, and it's the whole thing is just going to hell in a handbasket. Nonetheless, we have John Carmen in a moment, and a little bit later on in the program, we're going to meet a guy by the name of Billy Falcon. He's a Christian musician, and he's going to be talking with us in the final hour of the program today. Maybe we'll get him to play a little music for us, and he's got some great things to talk about, but that'll be fun. Before we do that, let's do as we do each and every day here on the program and take a moment, if we could, to honor our great nation and its flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Well, quick question for you folks. Are you familiar with collagen? Yeah, collagen it plays an important role in aging. And if you're familiar with it, you probably know that collagen production decreases 10% in our bodies every decade. What most people don't know is that the typical collagen supplements found on store shelves are often filled with harmful ingredients and chemicals that can make us look like we're, aging a lot more quickly than we'd like. That's why I highly recommend multi-collagen, ageless multi-collagen from BioTrust, because it has great ingredients. Users, including myself, have experienced a more youthful appearance. I don't know about that for me, but I'm beyond help. But for most people, yes, sir, youthful appearance, decreased wrinkles, smoother skin, within days of taking this amazing multi-collagen product. It promotes effective anti-aging through the use of 5 types of high-quality collagen mixed into one. All you got to do, folks, is head on over to healthwithdavid.com. That's healthwithdavid.com today, and you can save 51% off when you order ageless multi-collagen. All right, folks, let's bring in the great John Carmen of customscorruption.com, who's going to unmute his microphone and say, hello, everybody.
There we go. Hello, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
Pissed off as usual. I'm trying to get by with all the stuff that's going on that you know. Oh, before I forget, I want to get this little promo for these people.
Yes.
You out there who is experiencing serious RFID, there's a phone number there too, but it's long distance. But that's the website.
Real long distance.
Yeah, but that's it does seem to work. I've tested it. It actually disconnected a phone call that I had when I was on a YouTube, but not a YouTube, on a Bluetooth setup on a skull candy thing that you're familiar with. You know, and by wearing the cap, where's my cap? Because it's got the silver material in it that blocks these RFID things. Now, if you're sensitive to it, like some people are, then it will actually help block it, and you won't get the tinnitus or the other reactions. And if you're near these 5G towers, and I think you know I was having a little issue with a SIM card.
You mentioned
not a
that.
SIM card, but the part about where they're advertising. You can get a 5G or a 4G. I have to have a 4G for my phone, but I was looking at the memory card, and I've got like a 128 megabyte. And I said, well, I can save pictures and do whatever, but it was still operating off the first 16 gigabytes that goes with the phone. That's a lot of space, folks. 5G or 4G, but it's like those are frequencies versus the memory thing, which was 5.5 gigabytes out of 16. So if you're into the technology thing, you go, yeah, I thought I'd throw it in. And then they said later, oh, that 128 gigabyte memory chip or SanDisk microchip card is not compatible. Really? It works. So I had to put it back in anyway because I'm just standing by for some other information to qualify it. I'm not sure if I have to format it. Everybody else seems to say, no, those things are built so you just put them right in. You know, at least do it Verizon.
They should be, but of course, they should be. However, I'm so far away from the type of phone that you have. See, John, one of the things that people don't know about you, John, is you have an encrypted, protected type of a phone, but as a result of the type of phone you have, yours is not really a smartphone, and you don't need it. I mean, you need the protection instead, but they don't. But because of that, I'm not familiar with SIM cards and all that kind of stuff anymore, so I really wouldn't know.
Well, they still have them in smartphones. I already verified it through some other people that I know. Let me adjust, a little earthquake adjustment. Even smartphones have them, but the problem is there's so much space on these little tiny little chips. I should pull it out, but I got it wrapped up. That you could put like 5,000 entries for address books and stuff like that. And I stupidly transferred over to make a copy. So I've got a copy of my address book times 3 times right now. So now I got to go back in and delete 2 of them.
I've had that happen to me for some reason. Where all of a sudden you have 3 or 4 entries for the same person. And it's like, well, how did that happen? Yeah. And it doesn't happen anymore, but I'll tell you when it used to happen. It used to happen because I have an iPhone, and it used to happen when we had what's that called? iTunes. I don't think they have iTunes anymore, but I used to sync the phone with my computer. But when I did that, it would sync it 2 or 3 times, and I'd have 3 versions of my contact list on there. And oh my God. Yeah, and that's going to take a couple hours to go in and delete multiples A through Z. And, I know. Especially yours, because you have a hell of a lot more contacts than I ever had because of the people you know. So it's just. Yeah, I'm updating stuff all the time. I've been telling people to contact Trump. Even though I have my own criticisms for legitimate reasons. So I even posted his address and a nice photo of him at the Oval Office with his address in Palm Beach so that they could write him. I suggest email him, but you don't know if he's going to sit there all day. And no, he's not going to do that. He's going to have a staff person do that. That if you're on a special list, you may get through or not. Or if it's important enough that this other staff person who may or may not be trained to understand what's going on. So you'd be better off even sending just a hard letter. You know, it's like Carter. Yeah. Carter likes to get hard letters, him and Rosalind, but they don't like emails because they don't have the time. They're not social media people that like millennials like sit there and do this all day, you know, and run into people like me in a crash 3 years ago. I should slam that female. Oh, really? Did you actually had somebody texting and driving and hit you? Oh, my God. Well, it was at a stop position, thank God. And I just had a friend of mine, a contact back east, actually got hit by a female driver head on. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I hope you had your seatbelt. Go to the doctor, get checked, because you're going to have whiplash. Yeah. Right away. Let's be clear, it's not just females. There are men who text and drive, too. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, I can be fair about that. And there's probably a few aliens out there that we don't know about that kind of appear and don't appear. But they've got problems with licensing where people pay money from Middle Eastern countries to come into San Diego, for instance, second only to Michigan of Muslim communities. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Assalamu alaikum, right? And they'll just cut you off. And if you honk your horn or do anything, they'll slam on the brakes and act like they're
doing something else. I'm going to go off on another tangent here, so I'll stop right there.
Oh, it's okay, but I don't mind. Like I said, we like your tangents here, John. Don't misunderstand me. But I want to cover a couple of different things. We'll go off into all kinds of topics as we normally do. That's what
I have a list. I have a list.
Oh, good. Me too. That's what I love about Fridays. But the first one I want to get to, and you may or may not know this. Have you heard of a reporter by the name of Kimberly Ann Gauguin?
No.
Okay. Neither have I until about 2 days ago when someone emailed me and said that Kimberly Ann Gauguin was reporting, she's allegedly a reporter, an alternative news reporter, pretty much similar to what we do here. She has her own, it looks like her own website, United Network News.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, anyway, and she reported on her homepage that Trump was in intensive care in a hospital in Palm Beach, that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, that it had spread to his liver, and that he had less than a month to live. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, those of us in the alternative media, have a lot of sources who, report things that are not what go against the grain of the mainstream. However, I thought to myself, something really stinks to high heaven on this, because I've never heard of. I've heard, you and I both, and we know Charlie Ward, we know Juan O'Savin, I know Mel Kay. I've had her on the program. Great reporter, Lisa Haven. A lot of these people, they're just, they're great reporters. But this woman I had never heard of. So I was still getting emails about her yesterday in this report. So I looked her up online, and this is her curriculum vitae. And tell me if this sounds like someone whose information you would trust. It says Kim wears 7 hats. She is, number one, the Universal Protection Unit Command. Never heard of that. Commander of Earth Races, Galactic Council Ambassador for Earth.
That's already saying it right there. Go ahead.
Human Ambassador to all Earth races, controller of the planetary quantum system, original DNA representative of humanity, representative of humanity for disbursement of planetary assets, trustee, Mana World Holding Trust, ranking bloodline royal of all Earth kingdoms, Tsar of Russia, and quantum physics executive. Folks, let me tell you something. You've been had. Trump is fine. He's not dying. Don't believe every alternative report. Vet these people a little bit. Okay, so he's
Sounds
not
like
dying.
one of those old ladies with the Unarians that we used to have years and years ago. Or if she's not a member of the Federation, she has no
Right.
she has no pull. I have people I know that are DARPA connected.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do. And
How far do you want?
Yeah.
But all I need to know is a profile on her, which is interesting because as I said they had a shooting in Baltimore in the last 24 hours, and the police chief is black, the cops are black. I think I saw one white officer. Folks, you do not want to go to Baltimore. It was bad when I went up there back in the 70s when I was in Secret Service. And I'm telling you, that place is trashed. Everywhere there is a Democrat in charge, it will be trashed, and you're not going to get justice. And they had wild shootings, and they're doing this. There's an increase. I'm measuring these details every day that I hear it. So there's a lot of shootings going on. Innocent people are being shot just for being in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And not once did they say, oh, it was a white male, it was a black male, it was an Asian, it was a Native American, it was something else or whatever. They're stupid. Those cops are so controlled right now. If you have a job and you got a badge, you're probably with the system that's corrupt. Okay. And they know what I mean. There's a lot of guys quitting and retiring out early nationwide because of what's going on.
The entire Portland Police Department just quit, according to today's article.
As they might have done, but what they should have done, folks, is if they took an oath. This is the tough deal. This is what separates the men from the boys, okay? And I was there just a couple of times where I was going to pull my gun on a supervisor and arrest him and hope that Internal Affairs would back me up, okay? No, Internal Affairs wasn't going to back me up. That is the point. If they arrested their police chief or arrested the mayor or a governor, like in California or something, then that's what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to get together and say, did that guy violate the law? Get the attorney general on it. Are they going to back him up and do the paperwork? Yes, we will. Okay, then they go make an arrest based on information or a warrant or an affidavit or sworn testimony, or even an informant or something if they have to go extreme, like the corrupt government is using weird stuff right now. This is not a constitutional democratic republic anymore. We're under a Marxist, socialist, communist regime. Oh, I wish you could play the Biden video.
I'm always happy to oblige.
Oh, yes. People need to hear
I'm saving this as permanent. Here we go.
Let's put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Unbelievable.
And they did.
And I just caught something where there was a news item that I tripped over this morning. I do it continually. You know me. Even last minute stuff. Even right now, if something popped up, I'm going to talk about it. There are some senators or congressmen trying to pass a law to fire Fauci.
Yes.
What a bunch of
He needs to be prosecuted too.
Well, you see, that's the point. He needs to be held accountable. He needs to be fired. Sounds like Lori Lightfoot. If you violate the law, we will arrest you. The woman is psychotic. These people are wusses. You could not put them in a fighting area and have them fight fist to fist. They always claim, we are fighting for you. Show me your bloody nose. Show me the other guy's bloody nose. Something. It's rhetoric BS, folks. And when they talk about taking a guy who's guilty of the Nuremberg codes, which are all high treason and the death penalty is the penalty, then why are they talking about firing him? Oh, you got to be fired. Oh, my God, that's so oh, we have to fire. That's not being held accountable. Okay? They fire whistleblowers for a living. They eat whistleblowers for lunch. And we have to fight back, and the laws are not supporting whistleblowers. Okay, and you know that. You know,
I do.
A lot of people out there don't get it. But when I hear this rhetoric over and over and over, not one congressman has ever said they need to be arrested and put in prison or sent to Gitmo, like all the rest of the fake flights to Gitmo that aren't happening right now. That another person, I won't mention Alex's name, even he admits it. You know, come on, Alex, admit it. Now, so far, we've got the scoop. I'm holding on to that thought. Hold the thought. But when I keep hearing these people talk the rhetoric, held accountable, even Tulsi Gabbard, who I kind of liked, and she's a Democrat. She's very cautious about her terms.
Yeah.
But she may have been in the military, and I'm not criticizing her. I like her. But there are other people who were never military. But then again, I'm thinking of that guy, Dan Crenshaw. I hope he had his eye surgery fixed. You know, I don't know if he did or not.
Was he supposed to?
Yeah, they were putting a special air bubble in there that supposedly adjusts the macular problem or the damage to the retina.
Well, I wish him well health-wise. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. But he's a junior. He's a freshman, I should say, a freshman congressman. And what's interesting, I've seen some of these congressmen come and go who are supposed to do the job and represent the people. They're not representing the people, folks. You have to go way back and look at all the stuff you've seen over the years and determine, are they doing it? No, they're getting rich. They're making money. And on their bad days, hey, you know what? I think we ought to have a raise. How about everybody vote for a raise? Oh, yeah, let's have a raise. Yeah. And do they do anything with the American public? Do they have anything to do with the money suggestions I sent to Trump? And I sent to members of Congress. I won't mention Ted Cruz or Chuck Grassley or Trey Gowdy or Louis Gohmert or Jim Jordan, right? Nothing. $250 billion.
Huge disappointments all.
Yeah. And then they leave Congress and then they act like they're coming back and they're going back and forth because they're trying to get out of being tagged. You know, the James Comey lies. Oh, well, we couldn't prove intent on Hillary. That's a lie. It's a lie. The mere act, the overt act, means that's what they were intending to do, and that's what she did do. And she's still walking around. She's not flying to Gitmo. She didn't get executed last week, and she didn't get executed, and neither did her clone. Clones, ha ha ha. There are no clones. If they are, and I know that's possible with alien technology and so on and so forth, yes, you can execute a clone. It's not human, unless they change the laws and say, homicide, the unlawful killing of a human being, blah, 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 and or aliens, and or people with COVID shots with altered DNA, RNA, and or chimeras, human animals, and or, I mean, I could go on, excuse me, I could go on on that list, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could. And I know a lot of stuff that we don't even get into sometimes. We may touch on some stuff today. Angels.
Well, I've got one. Good. I've got one to start off with right now. Did you hear about this? FBI releases document with detail of alien bodies, spacecraft, and planet. The document declassified by the FBI, which is, by the way, is available at vault.fbi.gov. So this is not being made up out of whole cloth, and this is just a week ahead. Remember, it's a week from today, folks, that we're supposed to get the disclosure, right? And a week ahead of that, the FBI has released this document indicating that part of the discs, referring to the UFOs that landed, carried crews. Others were under remote control, and the bodies of the visitors and the craft also automatically materialized on entering the vibratory rate of our dense matter. I'm going to put up the document. I'm going to put it up on the screen here.
You're referring to Roswell?
I think I am.
It sounds like it.
Here's the document.
That looks like it's probably a 1947 document. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
At the top.
Yeah, 1947. Here's, let me just, and it says, and you can go to vault.fbi.gov to see it. It was addressed to certain scientists of distinction, to aeronautical and military authorities, and to a number of public officials. The declassified document is a letter sent to the director of the FBI in Washington from their San Francisco office detailing UFOs and extraterrestrials. And then it's got things redacted. Lieutenant Colonel XX of G2 San Francisco advised today he has no further information and that our Seattle office is in possession of all information known by him and is handling the matter at Tacoma, Washington. The letter outlines the following. Number one, part of the discs carry crews. Others are under remote control. Their mission is peaceful. The visitors contemplate settling on this planet. These visitors are human-like, but much larger in size. They are not excarnate Earth people, but come from their own world. The disc possess some type of radiant energy. They do not come from any planet, as we use the word, but from an ethereal planet which interpenetrates with our own and is not perceptible to us. The bodies of the visitors and the craft also automatically materialize on entering the vibratory rate of our dense matter. They re-enter the etheric at will and so simply disappear from our vision without a trace, and the region they come from is not the astral plane but corresponds to the LACAS, L-A-K-A-S, or TALAS, T-A-L-A-S. Students of esoteric matters will understand these terms. And then it says, there have been crashed craft, bodies recovered. We are not alone in the universe. They have been coming here for a long time. So, for the first time ever, the FBI releases, even though redacted, a document basically saying that in 1947, they landed. They're here.
And they're at the document at the top right of center, you're going to see a serial number.
Yes.
That's right next to the punch holes. And I have a document myself, which is like 2 inches thick. And when I turned it over, this binder, to the FBI, what they do is they feed it through their machine and they copy it, and each page is copied with a number. That is a 6751 number. That means out of 6,000 pages of some documentation. And I'm very familiar with the vault. I don't remember if I referred you to it or not, but I have used it on occasion. And they do have some interesting documentation because they are strictly a FOIA request type of a group.
Exactly.
Freedom of Information Act folks. At the state level, it's called a discovery or a different term. But yeah, it's funny. All the stuff that we know is true today, and they're coming in after the fact. Oh yeah, here's a document. Yeah, we're releasing it now after 50 to 60 to 75 years later. And in another 25 years, we'll probably get the truth about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah,
Maybe.
right. Yeah, well, and it was supposed to be. That was supposed to come out during Trump's term, and that got pushed back again.
Well, he held it back. He held it back 60 days.
60 days.
I'm sorry, 60 to 90 days, because Bush Sr. was sick.
Yeah, right.
Remember, he was anticipating he was going to die, but he held back. Why? If it's true, it's true. Was he in Dallas that day? He can't remember. Bush? Yeah, he was. Was he running an operation out of the rail yard above from the grassy knoll? Yeah, he was, folks. Did he show up at the Dallas School Book Depository on the steps, and they got pictures of him standing out there? Yes, he was, and he can't remember. That's a lie. He's a liar. Satanic, Luciferian connected, skull and bones, 322, the whole 9 yards. That's what they're into. And yet, nobody's been arrested today. Yet, right? Like Michael Flynn. Has the Insurrection Act been signed? Well, no.
He's still out there making videos, Michael Flynn. We gotta do something. Come on. Did you do something?
What is about to happen is it can't be reversed, and all this other eye candy and ear candy and hopium. 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 That's
I like that, hopium.
Yeah, and that's all they're doing. They're just throwing stuff out there. I kind of wanted to get this other one out of the way, but
that's the only big topic I had. I've got some other ones, but I want to hear if you got topics that you wanted to make sure we address. Let's get to them today.
Yeah, ours will dovetail because I'm going to hit on the stuff about angels and Tracy Twyman, who I actually spoke 2 years ago. She used to be the producer at the Ground Zero Clyde Lewis show.
Oh, yeah. Clyde. Yeah, I knew
She
Clyde.
She passed away allegedly of suicide in 2019.
Yes.
I don't think so. Okay, she tripped over the Pizzagate related stuff. Yeah. That's what she's into.
She's suicide like the guy that just reported the tarmac story with Clinton and Loretta Lynch.
Yes. She, right. So Arkancided is the term.
Arkancided. Yes.
But anyway, I wanted to mention Michael Leroy Bird.
Yes.
Even this morning, they aren't putting it out on certain news sources. And I go, okay, 5 days ago, they came out with an article somewhere. I trip across all kinds of sources. And it's not because I'm looking, folks. It's because I'm going, I got to go check this out. And then I go, oh, what's that? And then, oh, shoot. Now they're putting out the name of the actual shooter that killed Ashley Babbitt, that murdered Ashley Babbitt out of San Diego, a Air Force veteran who was totally unarmed. And they said first it was a black guy. From other sources, I said, God, he looks kind of white. But I don't know if they altered the photo or not, but it was a light skin thing. But then when they showed other pictures, now I've seen this before.
He's black.
Yeah, he is. But I've seen this.
Not that it matters. It wasn't a racial thing, but the reason I think it's being withheld is because he's black, because they don't want to turn it into, make a racial thing out of it, which it's not.
Right. It's just a profile thing. It's a law enforcement thing. And when we talk, I'm talking from my law enforcement experience, and that's what you do. If a dispatcher calls out a suspect, they call it out. A white male, black male, Asian male, gay person, female, blonde, brunette, red, it doesn't matter. We just need to know what it looks like. That's all it is.
Exactly.
But, on another occasion, they had a shooting up at San Bernardino a few years ago, and they actually put out false photos on the internet of the suspects, and they were not the suspects. That's serious diversion by the news media. They didn't vet their sources. 2 sources or more, folks. And I was going to interject that into the female you were talking about. She sounds like a nut job from her profile, but you got to have 2 sources to actually publish. So I published it and put it on my Facebook in case you want to go to it. I think it's john.a.carmen, whatever, Facebook. with me in the chase car. They've altered the Facebook a little bit to show little circles of your friends or something. And so far, I've got like 1,700 followers. Wow, I didn't know that. Right?
Well,
Anyway,
you should have a hell of a lot more than that. Tell hey, friend request John Carmer to follow him on Facebook. The man is a treasure trove of knowledge. You will not regret it. Trust me.
yeah.
He posts a lot of great stuff.
And don't forget to block the fact checkers, and don't forget to block the
fact
Indonesians.
checkers. That's right.
A lot of them are coming out of Indonesia, and they put all this gobbledygook that is not English language. That you still can block it. You just have to go to the settings, go to block, and type in blocker or fact checkers or Facebook. Excuse me, Facebook is an actual category. And then you can go to Indonesian, but Facebook will show them anyway. I just blocked like 50 of them, something just the other day, and they'll show up every 24 hours, basically. People you don't know, and they're sitting there criticizing yourself. But anyway, back to MLB. Michael Leroy Byrd, B-Y-R-D. Please Google that or DuckDuckGo it. MLB, MLB, MLB. That's the only way I was trying to remember correctly. Is a black male, a lieutenant on the Capitol Police Department. He was dressed in a business suit. They've got pictures of him. I posted pictures of him carrying a 40 caliber Glock. I identified it as a 40 caliber when I first saw it too. And the protocols are, if you have a person that's about to breach a certain area, you get out there and you can either tell them to get back, you can whip out a nightstick, you can use mace, you may even use a taser.
Right.
But there's nothing in the book on the escalation of force or the pyramid of force, as we called it. There's a couple of names. That you can use deadly force the way this guy did. And ever since then, they've hidden him. He's disappeared. That's an indicator, folks. And I don't care how many times they mention Pelosi's name. Whoever ordered him to do anything is not within the realms of the law to tell you, as a sworn official who's gone through training carrying a gun, if your life is threatened, you can defend yourself or the lives of others. That's the same stuff I did at the White House. It's the same stuff I've done in other law enforcement.
That's right.
And I've successfully arrested people without having to shoot them. Okay. You can't predict the reaction of another being out there, human or not. If they're not going to react right and they're on drugs, then you're going to be forced to do other stuff, unfortunately. And in training, we don't shoot to kill, we shoot to stop. So, I'm sorry, folks, all those who watch James Bond movies, the License to Kill, you might as well change it to the License to Stop.
Yeah. Here he is.
Yes.
Michael Leroy Byrd.
Yeah.
Let's put his image up there.
Welcome to justice. This is an indirect way of getting justice. Now, if Mr. Lieutenant Byrd is out there and he can't be found, and he's got a gun in his right hand while he's holding that book in the other picture, by the way, which is
but
his
they cut
Glock.
that off conveniently.
Yeah, what's interesting is that he accidentally left his Glock in the men's room on the window shelf where he went to wash his hands or something. And I understand that happens. A lot of people who carry guns at work, they have to put it down or hang it up if they're having a gun belt or something. Even if you're in civilian clothes and you're wearing an off-duty type situation or rig, then you have to put it someplace safe. And then when you're finished doing your business or whatever, then you have to make sure you grab that before or after, or you could tuck it under your arm and then wash your hands. I mean, there's ways to do it. I've done this for years.
Right.
But for somebody to actually leave something behind, you'd think that they would think, gee, I feel a little light. Oh, shoot, I better go back, blah, blah, blah. It happens. But I'm not going to excuse him on anything. He shot an unarmed person. He has to be held accountable. Oh, my God, the Democrats are probably going to fire him. Are you kidding me? 2, 3 tiers of justice in this freaking country right now. If you're rich and you're the elite, we'll just put you on probation. If you're the second level down, we might do something, but we'll think about it. We'll put a note in your file. On the third level down, we get into people like other people at regular levels or fourth level down. No, you'll get arrested. They'll prosecute you. They may put you in prison. And there's another category. If you're a whistleblower, God help you. They'll do whatever they can to put you away. A liar. A liar. That's how they did it. And I've seen other cases as well. They'll take a person who needs a green card this week, a convicted felon, by the way, and they'll use that person for a category to lie about something. It's illegal, folks. It's called entrapment. You can't do that. You can't get an illegal coming across the border, which is the same category. Hey, would you lie for the Democrats to get a green card? Oh, yeah, of course. Register as a Democrat, lie, cheat, steal, do whatever. And they own him, and they can use him. And, in fact, there's another guy on another service, show or whatever, talking about the same stuff I know about, where they use informants, government agents. They're just not coming out with the fact that the FBI was directly involved with the insurrection. They're calling it the insurrection of January 6th. That's what they're calling that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. What person was armed in the insurrection? Name one person. And then they arrested 300 or 400 people?
Yeah.
Right
and
now,
some
they're
of
still
these
sitting in
people are
prison.
still languishing in a prison cell for doing nothing.
Okay. And automatically I'm asking, where's Trump now? Where's Trump? If he's a legitimate president, he should have done the Insurrection Act. But people always play that game of, well, he could have, he might have, hopium. They're lying to themselves. That's how psychotically crazy these people are. If he's a legitimate president, he needs to have people arrested. If he's not, then we're waiting on Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and everybody else to put paperwork before a court system that's corrupt, and it won't work. You see, they don't get that. In the meantime, people are going to languish in prison or jail. They're not going to be properly represented because we live in a Marxist communist state right now. Wake up, folks. It's a Marxist communist state. There is no justice. And if Trump's the president, he needs to take action. Stat, there's a term. If you're working at a hospital and you say something like, code blue, I need this stuff, stat. The doctor's yelling, stat. Stat is yesterday is too late. That's pretty friggin' fast, right? Stat, yesterday is too late.
Yeah.
That means if you're not here since yesterday, and you have to wrap your head around that, some of you guys out there. But thing is that all these things and indicators by people who are trained like myself, and there's other people I know, military trained as well, they're saying the same things, but they're being so diplomatic about it. They're so controlled. They don't get that. I already came from a military family. I already know about disciplines. I know about military discipline. I know about civilian discipline. I know about martial arts discipline and religious disciplines and all these other things. But they're afraid to use the actual thing. They're afraid to. That's why we have this show. We're the only ones out here, to my knowledge, with somebody with a background who's talking about it. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it could be anybody.
No, and we're fortunate that we have you on our program pretty much exclusively. I mean, not that we ask you not to go on other shows. You're more than welcome to, and you should because your knowledge is vast. But we're glad to have you as our home base here. This whole Ashley, this guy, and of course, there was a lot of confusion over whether this was a false flag or not. It would appear Ashley Babbitt really was killed, and this Capitol Police officer was responsible for her death. And it looks like this guy's going to get away with it unless something is done. Stat, as you say.
Let me dissect this a little bit for people too. They claim that she was shot in the neck. She had a scarf on. You didn't see a bunch of blood coming out, but they did show some blood and some coming out of her nose. Okay, that's going to happen a certain way. That is not proper sight alignment, folks. You're not shooting at center of mass. That's what the guy's supposed to be doing, shooting center of mass. Okay, center of mass. The chest area is the center of the biggest part of the body, and it's where the heart is. Yeah, exactly. And if that person's coming at you with a knife 21 feet, you could shoot them. Okay, that's a legitimate thing. A person running at you with a knife can kill you, even though you got a gun out and shooting. That bothers me. Now, that's my expertise. I'm breaking that down. Yeah. I'm sorry. He had the gun pointed. Why would he shoot at the neck and head area and get in the neck, which tells me something else. Normally they would shoot at the chest area.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like he wanted to kill her. That if you're shooting at the head or neck, you're trying to. That's it. I mean, it's not for protection. It's not for stopping the individual. You said you shoot to stop, not shoot to kill. Here's a Capitol police officer, not a civilian, shooting to kill.
Yes. And the difference is, if I think you're wearing a vest, in Secret Service, we're trained 2 to the chest, 1 to the head.
Right.
That will assure that person's going to stop. And if they don't stop after a headshot, and I'm doing this for a reason.
Right.
Then there's something else going on there. But Congress doesn't want you to know that. Congress is our big bad parent or controller, and they don't want you to know the facts, and they're going to lie to you, and they don't want you to know what's really going on up there. Every day that Congress goes to session, every day that they show up are committing high treason, folks.
Yeah.
18 U.S.C. 2381, and they could be held seriously freaking accountable, arrested, and sent to Gitmo and have waterboarding sports and keep them for a couple of months to find out what they know and when they knew it. And when we finally finish everything, then they can go ahead and carry out the actual sentence of high treason. Guess what that is? And it's not being slapped on the wrist, and it's not being fired. I've got people who are also of similar backgrounds and military saying, yeah, I know a way they could fire the guy, like Fauci. Just give an example, not to pick on Fauci this week.
No, but we will.
They could put him up on a berm and fire him that way with 308s. Look into the camera, wait for the flash joke. They actually have it inscribed on the edge of a barrel. Wait for the flash. And I'm not trying to make fun of it, folks. You have to break. You have to break character on some of this stuff after a while.
Yeah, well, you do. Otherwise, you'd be in tears.
Well, you'd go crazy because they don't see the truth. They don't get it. But he didn't follow protocols. Stop. Don't move. Stop, or I'll arrest you. Stop, or I'll shoot. Stop. I'm telling you, if I had a chance to do that, and I didn't have to when I was at the White House, just to give an example. I was yelling and screaming at a guy at the border one time who dropped a weapon, and I was yelling at him in English and Spanish. And since he was Hispanic, I'd do it in Spanish. Alto, no se mueva. I'm yelling it. No se mueva. Don't move. And I cuffed him up, and everybody from the other areas are coming over to see what the hell's going on. By that time, I already had him cuffed up. He never got hurt. I cuffed him up, grabbed the gun, had another guy help me with the gun, and took him in and secured him after I searched him for other weapons and contraband. And then we got the car and all that. That's an actual case. I got an award out of it, but I didn't have to kill him. I didn't have to shoot him. You see. And there's a lot of details.
Did you tell me you never had to kill anybody, right? In your entire time. Am I right?
Not yet. Hey,
not yet. That's right. Don't forget.
Michael Flynn, not yet.
Yeah.
Not this week.
No,
Joe,
no.
Right?
Hey, let's do something. Let's put your cap on there. We're talking with John Carmen. His website is customscorruption.com. He's a former Secret Service agent under Presidents Ford and Carter, former customs agent, former San Diego police officer, and a former private investigator. But he's really still on the job. He's just not being paid for it because his government screwed him over because he blew the whistle on corruption within the Customs Department. So we have him on every week because he knows a lot of people and has a lot of insight into what's going on. We're blessed to have him with us every week. So if you can help this man out, he's living paycheck to paycheck and there's no paycheck. In other words, whatever he can get, we need to help him. So if you have Venmo, it's john.a.carmen@gmail.com, john.a.carmen@gmail.com, or you can send him, and we'll put this banner up here. I want to get this up. I want to have this up for most of the rest of the program today. Here it is. John Carmen, Post Office Box 577, La Mesa, California, 91944. Let's help the man out, and he really wants to return to service. He doesn't want a handout. He wants to be put back into service and be paid for the work he already did, because he's got a lot to contribute. So help him out. All right. Yeah, this whole thing is with the Capitol riot was all orchestrated, and unfortunately, this woman, Ashley Babbitt, lost her life to a Capitol police officer who went off the rails.
And the procedure is, if you shoot somebody on duty, off duty is a little bit different, then you have internal affairs called on. They take care of the person one way or the other, however the shooting may occur. Secure the area if they're dead, and make sure that everything's whatever. And if they try to resuscitate and all that, but I already heard one of the SWAT team guys at the Capitol pronounce her dead. He's not authorized to pronounce anybody dead, although she may have been. And they didn't do CPR. I didn't see mouth to mouth. Maybe.
And I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of people, including myself at first, believed it was a false flag, because none of the protocols seem to be followed. It's almost like she's dead, and nobody's helping her out. Nobody's doing so I thought, as many people did, she's alive. It was a fake, but now, come to find out that's not true. It just
right. And if I go to the scene where the person's freshly shot, or I'm right there, I'm going to be removing that scarf to clear an airway.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't do that. They're like playing around. That bothers me. But the whole idea is they still have to go through a shooting board or an investigation. They get put on administrative leave. They turn in the weapon for forensics and I'm using the wrong term again. Ballistics. They have to do ballistics tests. They have to go, is the gun in proper working order? Is that the bullet that matches the same from that gun? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And this guy's usually going to be put on psychological or administrative leave for a few days. Minimum, that's required. Even if you're fine, even if you go, no, I had a legitimate shoot and the bad guy was coming at me with a knife or a gun, I shot him, I'll finish the 8-hour shift. And they'll actually tell you no in most cases.
Yeah.
Unless they put you in a desk job in a control center or something with a supervisor or something, because they wouldn't want you to go home and start having a after effect, second thoughts about something, and then have you go through something. You have to go through some sort of an interview so they can evaluate. Are you okay? Do you feel okay about this? Do you feel okay about that? You're not going to harm yourself. You're not going to go home and do something that blah, blah, blah. They're going to find out other things in your background to make sure that everything was okay prior to that too.
Right.
So this guy's
folks, correct me if I'm wrong about this, John, but I know that you would know this. If a police officer, a good police officer, one who really is, cares about his job, and if he shoots somebody, it would be almost, there'd be something wrong with him if he wasn't immediately feeling horrible about it, because a good police officer wants to do their job without hurting or killing anyone. They want to diffuse a situation and not do that. And if they have no choice and they do it, even if they're completely justified, they're going to feel some sort of remorse, and they, depending upon their mental state, could be a danger to themselves. So, if they say, "Oh, I'm fine with it, everything's," that I'd worry even more about that.
Yeah, what you just said. Yeah, I am my own worst critic. Okay, if I do something, I always think another way I could have done it better, no matter what it is. I always think I have things in my past in law enforcement that they didn't get done the way they should have been done because of supervision, because of corrupt managers at U.S. Customs or something. And I keep thinking there must have been another way I could have done it. And there are little ways to do things. But I don't know if I told you about the case where I was coming from the work area near the border, and I was armed. I was on the north side of the border in the United States territory, and there was a police officer, a young man, a rookie, on the side of the road with his gun pointed at a pickup truck, a small pickup camper truck with a older mom and pop Hispanic couple, male and female. So I pulled up in front and got out, and I showed my badge immediately. I was in a sports coat and slacks. I just happened to be dressed nice that day, right? And I wanted to back him up, and he wasn't communicating. He was like this, pointing his gun. There was something wrong with that guy, the officer, San Diego PD. So I went up to the couple, and I'm talking to him, and I said, are you okay? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let me have the keys. Dámelo sus llaves. So I could take the keys out of the ignition, at least, so they're not going to do something stupid.
Right.
They weren't like that at all. They weren't like that at all. I put them on top of the cab, and these people were innocent looking. Okay, I've already profiled them. I'm talking to him, and I'm looking back, and he's still got the gun pointed in the same direction that I'm at, nearly. If he'd done something stupid, I could have got hit too. So I'm going, oh shit, this guy's frozen, man. He's not communicating. He's not trained. He's either PTSDs or something else. He's not psychologically in a position. Maybe he's never pulled his gun on a person, and he's been to the range. That's about it. That's fine. I understand all that. So I'm going up to him. Hey, there's no threat. You know, did you call for backup? I'm trying to communicate. He's not responding.
Wow.
I probably could have taken the gun out of his hands, but I didn't want to risk him pulling a trigger by accident.
Right.
It was on double action revolver, if I remember correctly. It could have been semi. I can't remember now. I waited just a few more minutes, and you know how many seconds in a minute goes by?
It's like an eternity, especially in a situation like that.
Well, finally, a black officer shows up, and I'm just telling you because that's profile information. So I go, good, your backup's here. So I tried to walk away because the other guy showed up. I didn't want to stick around because if I did, I was going to cause a special report on the officer because he wasn't responsive, you know. Right. So I may have saved those people's lives by interfering or interjecting or assisting is the proper term. And I was carrying a badge and a gun, no problem. I didn't have to pull my gun out. I mean, I had it ready in case I had to do it, but I could see that there was no need to. Totally different situation. And I probably could have done that better. I probably could have stuck around. I could have gotten involved, but then I would have had to have shown up at some sort of a hearing.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have fired him. Maybe they would have put him on administrative leave. Maybe they would have done something else. And I go, yeah, I'll have to write a report. Oh my God. You know, yeah, I could have done it, but it was just a judgment call. I was in a hurry to go somewhere else, and I didn't want to get involved with that former agency of mine. I used to work for San Diego. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get involved with them, but I did it enough to possibly save somebody's life. That's it. So it worked out. It worked out. But yeah, there's so many different incidences at the border, even at the White House. I think I went through that on another interview where I pulled my gun, cuffed the guy up, no problem, and walked him all the way around to the certain location at the Northwest Gate so they could go ahead and do the procedures and find out what's going on. He had a briefcase. Can you imagine some idiot that was actually allowed to work there? I won't mention a certain officer who happened to be female who allowed the fence jumper to run all the way up to the north portico and go inside the double doors. Who went inside the building, inside the White House, and happened to be tackled or stopped by an off-duty agent who was leaving to go home. And if he hadn't been there, that other guy who happened to have a pocket knife in his possession, I don't know if he had it out. If he did, I would have shot him immediately. Then why are these people on the job? They're not doing their job right. They're supposed to be up on the steps near the door protecting the entrance to the actual residence of the president, first family, you know, and all that stuff, you know. And that person was down the steps talking to another officer. That's unacceptable. See what I mean?
Oh my God.
So the supervisors weren't doing their job because they weren't monitoring, you know. Just a little gig against that former agency. I'm not sure what Dan Bongino would say about that. I'm sure he would back me up on that one for sure, because you can't have people screwing around, and I monitor the White House every day on a video thing. You can watch it live, folks, Earth TV or whatever on YouTube. Problem is they zoomed in so close they don't back up, so you can go, oh, there's the park. What are they calling it? Freedom Park? That's Lafayette Park, folks. Come on.
I mean, yeah. How do you even know that you're seeing the real White House?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Do, because I look at things. I work there. I mean, how do I describe the fact that I spent so much time there walking around? I mean, it's like, yeah, did I touch that? Yeah, that's the White House. I tasted it. That's the White House. That's White House paint. That's White House whatever. Yeah, I know exactly everything, where it's supposed to be positioned, exactly the way it is. And it's at an incline, which means if you actually were to jump the fence on the front side of the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue side, you'd have to run uphill a little bit. So if you guys are out of shape, you ain't going to get there as fast as if you're running on one of those Hollywood sets.
No,
right?
no. You are not.
Anyway, okay, we discussed the MLB guy. He's still missing, by the way. Gee, where is he at? He's not at home.
Yeah, that's interesting. That you think they would be searching for him like they search for all those innocent patriots who they have in jail cells that they're not even releasing on bail or even their own recognizance, like they're teaching like domestic terrorists, which they're not.
Well, you just answered the question for me, because I'll dissect what you just said. You would think they would be looking for him, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't they? Because they already know where he's at.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's going on.
He's probably in protective custody or something. Well, we're not going to let anything happen here. Just be quiet for a while. This will all go away, right?
Right. Pelosi's probably hoping that'll happen. And how come she hasn't been arrested too? Anyway, I wanted to touch on a subject because I've been touching with people, and I know people are asking about stuff about religious kind of things. I say, yeah, I get into that too on a rare occasion. And for some reason, I was guided to look at Tracy Twyman because I was looking at something regarding angels. And because of that, I was talking to another contact of mine who is actually connected to somebody else or not on the show.
All right.
I don't want to give away my little inside secrets, and you know who that is. So,
that's right.
But it's another person connected. So this person actually spent time at an actual seminary, and I was discussing these things about, how angels are supposedly looking and all that, and everybody has a guardian angel. I've got one right here on my right side. They're typically on your right side. So if you could do the thermal or the non-thermal or the interdimensional thing that you just touched on that other subject,
yeah,
you could see that there's an angel right here somewhere on my right side. If you're at this seminary location and you're locked in under special seclusion because they have to do that, they've got one on either side. Now, don't you feel special? Two
angels.
But they've got one that's even walking around. And this is the story I'll relate. It's not a big deal. This contact friend of mine who I talk to on occasion, love him to death. He's a real good guy. And he was describing that, because I was asking him something about, a prayer method. And he says that, he was on the late shift, and he usually goes around locking up. So everybody's usually in bed by 8:30, 9:30. He's up around 10:30, 11 o'clock. He's walking around the halls, and he comes across this person who's not walking the same way humans would. And I'm thinking exactly those weird questions because I am a behavioral analysis expert. I've had to study humans for many, many years, especially at work in law enforcement. So if I see a person walking funny, their gait, as we call it, how they walk, then I'm going, is that guy uncomfortable? Is he carrying something he's not supposed to be carrying? Is he doing something else? Is he looking around too much? Is he nervous? All those things.
Is he human?
Oh, I even get into weird stuff like that. If I can see the face. So apparently this friend of mine actually came across this person and maybe even said something, but he didn't have contact. But when they look at you, and most humans don't do this, when you look at another person, And I know it's almost it's being courteous depending on what culture you're in. Let's say you're in Japan, you don't look at
Right.
people in the eyes.
Right.
Okay, it's just a courtesy thing. You may look at them down here, and you're kind of like you're bowing your head, but you're kind of looking up,
Yeah.
but you're not looking them in the eye.
Because
If you
looking
look at a
directly
person,
in the eye is almost like getting in their face.
well, yeah, it's like a
personal
challenge.
space. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's a challenge or something, or you're not allowed to because they're higher up in the caste system or something.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But in my business, I'm doing this. Now, if I'm meeting a person on a personal level and it's a friendly thing, then I'm going to be gazing up and down, depending on what we're talking about. You know, I mean, I'm looking at you, but we're not close enough to see that I'm looking into your eyes. But if I really wanted to, I could get pretty close. I mean, 3 feet is 3 feet, folks, and that's pretty close. But anyway, this person apparently had a weird walk, and it was almost like a march. And he explained that he's actually marching to the frequency of God or something, or to the tune of God. Or
Okay.
and I said, well, it wasn't a goose step, but it was kind of an intentional kind of a gait. It wasn't relaxed. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just walking down the hallway, you know, I'm just walking. It was kind of an intentional thing, like maybe the person's on duty. And if you've seen the guys at the National Monument at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, they're marching a certain pace,
Sure.
21 to the stop and turn, 21 back and forth, 21, 21, 21.
I've seen it.
Okay.
I've been there.
So there's an intent behind that. Everything means something. And I'm getting into this thing, and I want people to understand. Everything that we're doing, everything that is religious, everything is against evil, it is a definite thing. It's kind of like Father Karras explaining to Damien, oh, it's not a demon. It's Satan himself.
Yeah.
He thought, oh, this little girl is possessed by a demon or something. No, it's all the same. It's good versus evil. Keep it clear, folks. Don't play games with, oh, that's a demon and that's a whatever and something else. And we've got angelic beings, and we have beings from other dimensions, as you brought up earlier. All this stuff's real, but you can't talk to most people on a certain level unless they've got an education to understand what that means. Frequencies, interdimensional, it exists. Simultaneous, parallel universes and things like that.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that gets a little complicated, but it's still there. You know, what is it Jesus used to say? In my house are many rooms, or in my
Many mansions.
or many mansions or houses. So
Right.
that was just another way of him explaining it over 2,000 years ago in those terms. And even then, there's paintings that show UFOs in ancient paintings. How would they know what that is? See? So it's been out in front of us. You just have to look. That's all. You have to look. I've always been interested in that stuff since I was born. You know, but you're not going to get the same answers that I get nowadays because I'm digging and digging, which parallels with this website I was looking at, because they showed a picture of an angel. Because in one source, angels don't look like what we think they are religiously. You know, like I've got a St. Michael up on a statue on a wall
Right.
thing, 2 wings. No, they've got them with 6 wings or 8 wings. Well, maybe that depicts that they're moving. They're fluttering or whatever. Okay, I get that. How do you paint that, right? But then I've seen some stuff that's like, oh my God, it's got 6 or 7 or 8 eyes. It's got a dozen wings, and it's got some sort of a twirly whatever thing that looks like it's mechanical almost. So it's kind of like, I don't know what that is. But if it's the voice of God or not, however, a burning bush that doesn't burn, you name it. So, I mean, I'm well read. I just don't talk about it to most people because they wouldn't
And
understand.
you've actually had a couple of people, if I'm not mistaken, question whether or not you have faith. And you've made it quite clear that you have faith in this program. And yet some people will say, well, I don't know if John believes in God or not. I think you've made it quite clear.
Yes. What person carries around a St. Michael's medal.
Exactly.
Wait. A Saint Ben. I'm not even Catholic, folks. Look at a
Right.
Saint. I can't get it right. There you go. Saint Benedict's medal.
Saint Benedict, right?
That's the Exorcist design, because you have to know how to do the thing so you can
There
fight
you go.
the bad guys and all that. And then there's a St. Christopher's. I like this one because I go for certain types of things. When I had money, this was years ago.
Yeah.
It's a silver medal, but it's a certain year. And if you know about certain things, it's like an ancient or old medal. It's just a religious medal, basically. But I studied that stuff. There's Catholics that don't even know who Kateri Tekakwitha is.
You are so right, John. You are so right. There are so many people that have been raised in some denomination, and they can't tell you any of the dog. They can't tell you any of the catechism, the dogma, whatever you want to call it. They can quote Bible. They can take Bible quotes out of context to make it fit their narrative.
Yes.
But they can't tell you what it really means.
Yeah, and I've actually been to Catholic schools as well when I was younger. I don't know if that was because of a babysitting issue or they just wanted me to get exposed to it. But I later studied that stuff as a side interest. My interest was law enforcement and martial arts and training and sports and judo and stuff like that. I took a college course in college up in the desert, and I had a rabbi, and studied all the other ones. Judaism, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism. There's like a dozen of them. I mean, to the point where you understood there's a lot of similarities, and you could kind of go, hey, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind being a Sikh. Grow your hair long, wear a beard, wear a kara, a special wristband, the white shorts, a wooden comb in your hair, and then have a secret sacred knife all the time. Oh my God, that's almost a hindrance. Think about it. I mean, you'd have to carry that thing around all the time because it's a sacred religious thing.
Yeah, well, you told me you stopped somebody at the border and asked to see his knife, a Sikh.
Yes, he was okay.
Under his shirt.
Yeah,
which is not a weapon, by the way. It's a religious. But they're required to carry it, and he gladly obliged, and everything was cool.
That's right. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are going to go out and buy any AR-15s, and you got some idiots out there who are left-wing Democrats and they want to say, oh, that's an assault weapon, I want you to go out and get a watch and get some tape and tape it to the stock somewhere, because that's a watch, folks. It's a multi-purpose watch. Well, yeah, but it looks like an assault weapon. No, it's a watch. Flip it over and show them the watch.
That's right.
Okay, you want to play games? I could play the same thing that they're doing.
It's like one of those multi-tools, well, here's a screwdriver, here's a knife, here's a watch. Oh, here's an AR-15.
Do you remember the movie Flint?
Yes.
Our Man Flint and In Like Flint or something. But Our Man Flint
that was In Like Flint, but that's okay.
Yeah, and he had a cigarette lighter that had 32 functions.
Right.
A communicator, a Morse code thing. It had a weapon in it. It had like ungodly amount of things, a microscope in it, all kinds of stuff, and it also lit cigarettes. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean that was pretty cool.
It's like today's phones. They call these cell phones, and yet most people don't use them to make calls anymore. They text people, they chat, they play games, they do everything else. And the thing that is used the least in a cell phone is the phone. So
exactly. Well, this looks like a phone, doesn't it?
It does.
Right. Right.
Right.
It's a phone, or maybe it's not. See. You always have to raise the doubt, make people think, because if it was a government issued, Langley issued something or other, the technology is so far advanced, and it's into alien technology. I have to plug it back in because I like to keep it charged all the time.
Yeah.
That we're not just 50,000 years ahead, we're 100,000 years ahead. Okay, and that's from my own contacts and stuff like that. And I like to give a buffer, but we're not even using it to benefit the American people, let alone the human population on this planet. So that means that the elites, the Illuminati, the people who are Luciferian satanic worshipers who are going to still continue to make wars because we're being ignorant. And yeah, we have aliens living among us. I think the last count was, there's like 87 million or something, 82 million, something like. How do they know? Are they coming in at U.S. Customs like on the Men in Black movie? Are they getting checked in? It's possible they're documenting certain things, but they can't keep track of everything that's interdimensional. No different than the ones that were visiting George Van Tassel up at Big Rock, who also was associated with Howard Hughes, who was a big secret to Richard Nixon, who also happened to know a guy named Donald. So after Richard Nixon resigned, I don't think that stuff with Watergate is what's going on. That man was present and had access to the same documentation that Dwight Eisenhower had back in '51 when they were having meetings in the deserts at Holloman Air Force Base, to name one. I believe Edwards was another one in the desert, not too far from where I was living and stationed at China Lake. Look it up, folks. China Lake, NWC. Now it's called NAWS, because that's what the Democrats do. They get into office, Obama, whoever, they want to change the names around. That's not a UFO, that's a UAP.
It's a UAP now, that's right.
It's a UFO, folks. Leave it alone. Don't play their game. I just saw a UFO. Oh, you mean a UAP? No, I said a UFO. Did I speak English? Yes, I did. I said UFO. So fight back. Don't let them play that game. Don't let them play the narrative. That's a lie. Oh, that's so disingenuous. That's a lie too. Okay, so, they're trying to change everything like they did with math. 2 + 2 is 4 this week, as far as I know. But
unless you can make a cogent argument why it should be 5, and then we're going to give you points even if you don't get the answer right.
Yes. Well, that depends on what dimension you're in, and it depends on what is based on, because
it all depends on what the definition of is.
Yeah, you caught that. I could see it coming. That was perfect. But yeah, it's getting into all that stuff. They don't know what's going on there. But just to let people know and be rest assured, yeah, we do have angels here. But there's always that question I keep getting asked about aliens being angels or angels being demons and aliens and stuff. No, they're not the same. They're not the same. You would know it. Sometime in your life, you have been communicated with by angels, unless you're a Luciferian. In fact, I just remembered I was going to tell you about this too. You're familiar with the term blood diamond, correct?
I think so, but refresh my memory.
Well, my first impression was, oh yeah, I saw that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Connelly. I used to love Jennifer Connelly. She's married to Paul Bettany, tall guy, 6'3", light complected. He actually plays the monk in Da Vinci Code, and he later plays in a movie where he's an angel on some other movie, which is kind of interesting. But I'm getting sidetracked. The Blood Diamond movie was what they're doing in Africa, where they're having black people as slaves. They're digging for diamonds, and if they find a diamond, they turned it in. In fact, I just saw yesterday on the news, they have the biggest diamond in history, which is some ungodly 5, 6, 7, 800 grams or ounces or whatever. It's huge. It's like a.
That's bigger than the Hope Diamond, then.
Yeah, it's much bigger than that. And the Hope Diamond's supposed to be blue.
It is.
So it's gigantic, or in modern terms for you young folks, it's ginormous.
Ginormous.
But in that movie, it's a good movie. I watched it just to force myself to, just so I can be able to talk about it someday or something. But DiCaprio is in there getting involved, and you got all kinds of stuff going on in these places in South Africa, and the apartheid and all these other things. And he's up against the bad guys who are actual black militant terrorist militia types, and some people are trying to escape, and he's helping this guy and his kid escape with the use of some diamonds that they found, and they would use that to pay their way, and they could get back and be in the United States and be rich millionaires with that kind of diamond. I mean, something like that big,
Right.
That's serious. 50 carats or something, that is not the same thing. And I came across this other video by these young ladies. I'm being nice. They weren't young, but, ladies.
Yeah.
And I'm being nice too. I don't know if they're really ladies, but I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're talking about what they really do in the Luciferian thing. And they pointed out that some of these people that are Luciferians, I think they had pictures of Oprah Winfrey and some other actresses, Sandra Bullock and a bunch of other ones who were left-wingers, Democrats, left-wingers. And they're wearing a special ring that has a blood diamond that's not what you think it is. It's not a diamond. It looks like a ruby or an emerald,
Okay.
but it's flat blue, blood colored.
Okay.
A flat color. It's not a crystal, and it's not something you can see through like a crystal. Apparently what they're doing is they're taking the bodies of dead children and they're cremating the bodies, whatever purpose, because they're into cannibalism. And they're cremating the remains. And out of a body, you may get 4 to 5 pounds of ash. They take the ash and they process it and compact it to the point where they can make it into a gem of some sort. And that's what they're doing. Now, you know that you could take carbon and like a piece of coal, or if you were Superman, George Reeves, you could take that and crunch it up into a diamond.
That's right.
In fact, we just missed.
I remember that episode.
Huh?
I remember an episode of Superman where he did
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
He had to make a diamond instantly.
Yeah, we missed his anniversary date 2 days ago, which was his anniversary date when he died. He was murdered.
Yeah.
But that's an example of what they're doing is they're taking this stuff to the nth degree, where not only do they want to take their blood, they want to take their souls. They will take the ashes and condense it down to a gem of some sort so they can wear it on a ring. Now, I don't know if those photographs were real. They looked real, but a lot of those people that I just mentioned are all of the same category. Podesta was up there. He's another one of those followers.
Oh, yeah.
They even put Hillary Clinton's picture up there. But if they all have that ring on, I haven't noticed it in a way that I would see it in a definite way, or that it's continual, properly researched and photographed or videotaped. So it's just some people that have a blog and they put it out there and say, well, that's very interesting, but it is real. I have verified it through sources. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it. I would say, well, here's a fantasy idea. Go research it yourself. No, I already talked to my own sources and verified. Yeah, that stuff does exist. That's what they're allegedly doing. It's a souvenir from dead children. And yet,
They're putting them into diamonds and making. In fact, Jesse Zaboter has talked about that.
Okay, there you go.
She's definitely, and they put them into food too.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Well, there was a guy on a news late night show, a black guy. I can't think of his name. He was some sort of an artist of some sort. And this other guy was, I don't want to say his name because I'm not sure if it was one of the talk show hosts or not, that are usually the left-winger types. But the question came up was, oh, how do you maintain your youthful look? Well, come on, folks. That was a lead-in question.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, that's the lead-in question. That was what it was going to come up to. And the guy admitted that he was doing adrenochrome, but they're doing beyond adrenochrome. They're doing cannibalism. They're doing adrenochrome. They're even making little pills. If I could take a supplement pill, just to give you a visual, this is just my quercetin stuff here. But
Yes.
there's a pill. So if they're giving gel cap pills to these people, imagine that this stuff is ground up human material.
Yeah.
Soylent Green in a pill. That's what that is. Soylent Green. You know, it's back to the movie with Charlton Heston and Edward G. Robinson. Soylent Green is people. You know.
That's
Well,
And it's real, isn't it? And I was talking to, who was I talking to the other day? I had L.A. Marzulli on the program.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
On Wednesday. And, you know, Hollywood gives us hints about all this stuff. They've actually been giving us, and you are the one that was the inspiration for me to address this with him and a couple other guests. Hollywood gives us hints of everything that is really going on. It gets leaked to them. Well, you said, because in many cases, Hollywood studio, they have CIA offices in Hollywood studios, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
a lot of times this information gets leaked. It gets put out there in the film to prepare us for this. It's all happening.
Oh, I got to take a quick 1 minute.
Well, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We're going to take a break, 5 minutes. We'll come right back, with John Carmen, and we will continue. We'll maybe even take your telephone calls. Hang on, folks. We'll be right back in just about 5 minutes.